Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're taking a look at this little fella right here, Mars Needs Heroes, from the Haywire Group. So basically this is a bidding game where you're trying to get the most aliens into your tableau, so to speak. And it's also set collection because at the end of the game, the person who wins is going to be the person that collected the most of one specific color. And then if there's a tie for that, you go to the second most color, and whoever has the most in that is the winner. So it's a pretty cool bidding set collection game. And so let's go ahead and get down to the table. I'll show you how it works. Now, in a game of Mars Needs Heroes, each player is going to get 5 of these tiles, and these tiles are actually their bidding cards during the turn. You're supposed to be trying to get as many of these alien cards as you can, and whoever has the most of one type is the winner. And there are basically 4 different colors of aliens here. You have yellows, purples, greens, and blues. And so what's going to happen here is each one of these characters has a deck of cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And they are going to be able to have this as their hand, and they can choose whichever one they want on the turn, depending upon how they're going to want to bid for the aliens that come up. So for example, the first turn, 2 aliens are turned over like this, and then each person is going to choose a card from their hand, like so. Once all the cards are turned over, the values are compared. The highest numbered value takes the card, but if there are 2 that are tied for highest, they are negated, taken out of the equation, and the second highest card gets to take both of them. So in this case, the orange player gets both of these purple aliens. And then these are kept face up so that you can see, everybody can see what has been played. 2 more aliens are turned over, and cards are played again. So in this particular situation, orange wins again because they have the highest number. These 2 negate, but that doesn't matter because they're second place anyway. So purple takes both of these and adds them to their queue. These are set aside face up so that we can see what has been played. And then 2 more cards are turned over. Bids are placed and then turned over. These 2 are going to negate. And then the 3 has won, so the pink player here is able to take these 2 and put them back there. Bidding cards are played and flipped over. The highest number takes it. These are placed back in their respective corners, and 2 more cards are placed out. And then the final cards are played. All of these will cancel out. Pink player gets the stack. And now that everybody has played all 5 of their cards, they all become available once again. Now, you might be saying, what are these things right here? Well, these are freeze ray tokens. For example, let's go ahead and play another round. And let's just randomly choose which card is going to be played here. All right, so let's say that these 2 are negated. And orange is going to win this. But Mars, black player over here says, freeze! They have used their freeze ray. That means that they trump everybody else that has won, and they actually win this. And they get to keep these cards. Now, the first person to do this is the one that gets it. If 2 people do it, it's the first one that gets it. This is something where it's a speed mechanism in the game. And it's only to be played once per game. So you have to be very judicial about how you use your freeze ray. But that's generally how the game is played throughout a number of rounds with just choosing which bidding number you want to do. There is a lot of open information in the game because cards that you have played do stay open on the board, and then once you've played all 5 of your bidding cards, they all come back and become available to you again. So if this were the end of the game, basically green player would have won because it goes by whoever collected the most of one color. So with a pink player here collecting 5 different green aliens. That is the most out of anybody else. Blue got 4. Now, black got 4 blues, and then orange got 4 yellows and 4 purples, but the pink player here got 5 greens, so they would actually be the winner. If, for example, this were not the case, and let's say this was over here, somewhere else, maybe this person over here got 3 greens instead of just 2, and there was a tie for the most, then you would go to see who has your second most suit, so to speak. And since orange over here had 2 that were in 4 and nobody else had that, then they would actually be the winner because they would be tied for the purples, greens, and blues. And then they would go to the next highest, which is yellow here, and he only has 3 green over here and 2 of either blue or purple over here. So that would be how you score the game at the end, with the person who has the highest number of cards in one suit, with ties being played out as I just explained. And that's how you play Mars Needs Heroes. So that is how you play Mars Needs Heroes. This is a game that my entire family enjoyed a lot. We actually played it multiple times in one sitting, so it was definitely a hit. This was one that I wasn't expecting everyone to like so much. I was expecting my son and my daughter to like it a lot, and they definitely did. But my wife also enjoyed it, and I enjoyed everybody enjoying the game as well. So there is that. Let's go ahead and get to some pros and cons here. First of all, the graphic design of this game is really good. There are only 4 different drawings for the aliens, 1 for each color, but that's okay in this kind of game. I'm not really necessarily wanting a whole lot of different kinds of artwork for this style and this weight of game. So normally that would be kind of a hit for me, but here it's kind of a plus because it wasn't overly wrought, and it was good for what it does. Now, with that being said, there is a slight caveat. I think the pink and the red decks of cards look way too similar in certain kinds of light. We don't have we don't have top-notch lighting at my house, and so when we were playing this game, the red and the pink looked almost identical as far as the numbers and the recesses of those numbers being the player color. We could it was not easy to tell the two apart. We really had to get close. So that was just a slight caveat on the art and graphic design. But other than that, it's a great look for the game, and it does provide that very family-esque feel. Second pro of the game is that the gameplay is incredibly fast, sometimes almost too fast, because we have to think about, well, what card am I going to play? And I want to put a little bit more thought into it because there are, the 3 other players of the game. You can see what they have played, so you want to keep an eye on what they're playing to kind of give you an idea with what they're going to play now. So there is that. I like it. That it plays so quickly, but it still has that thought process there. The freeze ray is another positive part of the game for me, and usually I don't like things that do that, but it does provide another option for you to use during the course of your turn. And again, we're not putting too much thought into this here because it is a very lightweight game, but at the same time, I like having that extra thing where you can, somebody thinks that they've beat you and you can say, boom, freeze. And they're like, oh. But again, at the same time, that's a one-time use, so you have to be very judicious about how you use that. But that was another pro for me as well. A con of the game is that sometimes it feels like that you can basically just play random bid cards and possibly do better than if you were to put more thought into it, which is a pretty huge downside in any other kind of heavier game. But in this game, I don't really care. That's why it's a very light con for me, because you can have just as much fun sometimes, playing randomly as you do putting a little bit more thought into the game. And what I found is that, especially playing with kids, sometimes just playing random is exactly what they're doing. So you might as well join in the fun, right? But normally this would not be a good thing at all. But I don't really care about this game because of how light and fluffy it is. So that's a slight con, but not really much of one at all for this game. So all in all, I'm going to give this one a pretty high mark. We're going to give 7 out of 10 for family friendliness at the very least. I think it's a good filler. I don't know that it's going to have very much staying power with gamers at a game night somewhere in a store, but I think with families, this is going to sing for a very long time, and I think it's going to have some staying power as well, because, I mean, I think the kids might grow out of it, but until they do, they're probably going to enjoy this a lot. I know my kids are going to, and that's why I'm giving it a kid-approved rating of 7 out of 10. So that's it from me for Mars Needs Heroes from the Haywire Group. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you guys on the flip side.